indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Andrew.
Mike Reeder.
Aye.
Krista Stillwell.
Present.
Rick Gunyon.
Yeah.
Present.
Josh Hewitt.
I'm here.
Present.
Mike Kelly.
Present. I did that one time too, Rick.
Not the end of the world. We can't see it from here.
You had a chance to take a look at the minutes. I would entertain any motions for corrections or additions or a motion to approve.
I move we approve the minutes from July 7th.
A motion by Krista,
Second.
second by Mike Reeder. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Josh Hewitt.
Aye.
Rick Gunyon.
Aye.
Mike Reeder.
Aye.
Krista Stillwell.
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye.
I was going to say present.
Any public participation?
No, there was not.
Okay. I kind of have some that come to me through Facebook, and you see pictures. Gentleman's concerned because he feels like, and he said, is there an ordinance about this? And I don't know if there is or not, but it does constitute a danger, I believe, to our electrical people. And so I think we need to think about a solution. Do we have the authority to just take them down?
Yeah.
Bill?
Yeah, we do.
When Mayor Pittenger was in office, I thought he passed something.
I'll have to look.
I remember discussions on this.
Yeah, I can check. I just don't know off the top of my head if there is one or not.
But I think this gentleman felt they needed to be addressed, and I kind of agree with him, and I noticed them myself, especially at the corner of Kiger and Jackson. There's one. I read one's there, I think. Anyway, I wanted to bring that to the board's attention.
Looks like we got several nails in that pole on the right.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the danger, isn't it? The nails in there.
But you got to climb it forward when you're forward.
Right.
Your other gloves.
So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention tonight. It did come from the public, and this gentleman was concerned about not only the law, but the safety. So,
Well, I could say, Mike, we do not have any ordinance, but when I sat on city council in 2012, I believe it was, with Josh here, I recall there was 2 discussions in 2 city council meetings. There was a motion to develop an ordinance, and meanwhile the building services office went out and did enforcement and contacted the individuals at the time. So that's Don Stock's office now. He may refer you to the police department because they do a lot of the external building code enforcement. Can't speak to whether there's actually a municipal code, but it has been a topic of discussion, but it's on the city side. The Board of Works would be the enforcing agency.
There is an ordinance.
Okay.
It shall be unlawful to paint, print, post, stencil, or otherwise mark upon in any manner, nail, suspend, or affix to any telegraph, telephone, electric light, or fire alarm pole, or lamppost, or any other post or pole or structure permitted in the city, any word, letter, character, figure, sentence, or device, or any handbill, poster, notice, or advertisement of any character.
Thanks.
Speed reading.
What is that code number?
It is section 130.01, and then there's additional at 130.02. There's another ordinance about utility poles, and then the penalty is 130.99 for a first offense, not less than $50, nor more than $100. For a second offense, $150, not more than $250. For the third offense, $350 and $2,500.
So there's some teeth in that ordinance. So it would make sense to me that if Todd, if you could communicate with the city and
I got the numbers.
inform them, it is impactful to our workforce safety. And besides looking unsightly, we'd appreciate enforcement.
The challenge with enforcement is you got to figure out who put them on the poles. So that's the tricky part is you can't ticket someone you don't know. Those ones have phone numbers, so you can find those guys. But if there are
Some of them have addresses too.
other things,
I got a
but
house
yeah,
for sale.
Yeah, the enforcing agency would need to figure that out.
figure that out. Yep,
We can make the request.
that's
so.
the only challenge. But yep.
Thank you. I just wanted, I thought the gentleman had a good point.
Good.
Okay, safety minute, Todd. We just had it, right?
No, I've got something here. And I'm not gonna read the whole thing because it's quite lengthy. But it's called Good Enough Mindset. And the definition, or what they have down here, is for most of us, we have been doing our jobs long enough to know what is the right way to do things and what falls short to good enough. When it comes to the workplace safety, good enough does not cut it. When addressing hazards, having this mindset will lead to exposure to risk that will eventually result in incident and injuries occurred. What leads to good enough mindset is complacency, lack of training or understanding. The culture of the work group or the company as a whole supports tolerating risks, lack of energy or fatigue. And then down at the bottom, it's how to avoid good enough mindset is always aim to do your best. Recognize when you are not feeling your best and when your energy levels are low. Remind yourself why certain safety policies or best practices are in place and their expectation is to follow them. And have others who excel at their jobs double check your work or give you feedback. And I think probably somewhere along the line, we've all fallen under that thing of it's good enough. Well, we're learning it's not. So that's what I had for tonight, Mike.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Apologize to you, gentlemen. I've forgotten, left your names on the agenda. I'm sorry about that. Second meeting, we usually don't require you to be here, and I tried to get word to you that you wouldn't be, but if you have something you want to, well, it's a good thing he was here because Phil was able to help us with electric. But anyway, I apologize. We'll go directly to Todd then.
On one of the things we're going to postpone it, I had it up towards the top of the list on the 69 kV line, but Clay Miller, who has been working with IMPA on the legal side of this, got stuck in traffic. He should be here in about 10 minutes or so, but he is on the way. So if we can, we'll just push that back a little bit. One thing I want to do right off the bat with I think we can all agree it's the elephant in the room that's looking at going outside of town here with the data center. And one of the things that have came out is that there is our rates go up, things like that. Well, just to let, especially the two newest members on our board, is that back on June 3rd of 2024, we signed an agreement with Burgess and Niples to look at redoing the 200 lift station and running a force main across town and doing some other work out that way, because back when the county did all the work to go from Jefferson to 65, there was an interlocal agreement, which I have right here, that was signed, let me see one, on the 28th day of May 2019. And with that being said, there was a quantity of water and sewage that we were supposed to allocate towards those, or towards that interlocal agreement. And right now, the way we are set up, we cannot honor that. We can honor it at the plant, but we cannot honor it through the system. But we are working on that with what we're doing at Jefferson right now, which will come up here in a little bit. But with time, if a development goes out there, we'll be in trouble. So with that being said, I want to get out in front of if the data center does happen and we have to we will not have to raise rates for that, but we had a plan in action already with signing the agreement for them at It's $1.7 million for design work to be able to honor the interlocal agreement. And it will be next year in 2026 that we're going to have to vote here and then take something to the council for a rate increase for wastewater. But it has nothing to do with a project that's coming on. We already had the mindset in the forefront to get out in front of this, but I just want to let everybody know that that will be coming.
And could I interject? I appreciate the update. The interlocal agreement you're speaking to
Yes,
was
sir.
to provide utility service, water, and sewage to Banderas Point, generally that intersection of 2865.
The whole 65 corridor.
Points in between.
Yes.
28 corridor.
Yeah.
Right?
28 corridor. Yeah.
So that's a development effort in process, and the timetable of that actually getting to fruition is not now known. So what we can do is, considering it's a plan and it's a interlocal agreement we have obligated ourselves to do, we want to be in a position to fulfill that obligation, right? So
Yes.
I appreciate the update because we do have two newer board members, and perhaps Josh remembers that from being on the
Very
county
well.
commissioner. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite days of my term. So my question, Todd, is so that document was signed in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't sound like it's going to get fixed for at least another year, 18 months.
It's going to be longer than that.
So what happens now if a development comes in and the county comes and says, hey, you said you could give us this capacity, but you couldn't, or you can't?
I would say at this point in time, we have to hope that they build slower than we can, Josh,
Okay.
is what it boils down to. But with what we're doing out at Jefferson right now, we can probably take most of that. But if there's anybody else comes along, we cannot, because the interlocal agreement states 350,000.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
For water's not an issue.
No.
For the sewage, that's the sticking point. But with the changes that we approved before you came on, we're going to be able to. I think, what was the prediction on that, PJ? 300 that we was going to be able to move around with the changes. It was more than that.
Okay,
so we should be okay.
We're
but
good then.
With time, but this is also something that was planned years ago that we just kind of got it handed to us. Let's put it this way. But these plans have been in place for many, many years, and we had to go into a redesign, and we had to make 200 bigger and everything. So it's a very big project. But
Well, I mean,
but this thing here will be fixed this year.
Yeah.
That we will not be in breach of this by the end of this year.
somebody dropped the ball prior to.
There's from my research in where we got on this, there was a very large error made when Jefferson Lift Station was built.
Okay.
And the error was by a company doing engineering work for the utility board, correct?
I don't know I think it was for the county at that point in time. Okay. Because the county paid for everything at Jefferson, right? The lift station and the water tower and everything else.
Well,
it was
the calculation deals with utilities, so. Right.
Calculation deals with utilities, and it is a firm that we have used in the past as well, that the error should not have been made.
No.
And I am still working on some sort of reimbursement for that boo-boo.
Okay. Obviously you weren't part of this then. And
Yeah, but
I was just trying to figure out what
we're
happened.
getting there. We're making progress, and we will be good with this. But I just wanted to get it out there that there was a rate adjustment that we'd be looking at all the way since back of June of last year when we signed this.
Okay.
Okay.
Alicia, you have any thoughts on that? Are we
My
in
only-
breach or?
My only comment is that I spoke with Kent Brewer about this many times, and with this change that we're working on, that was something that we determined we absolutely needed to do, and we needed to do it as soon as possible once it was discovered that this error had been made and that it needed corrected. And what my understanding is,
Okay.
and correct me if I'm wrong, Todd, is that at this point with the wheels in motion that we have, we shouldn't face any liability with the county, because by the time that we do get this constructed, since it's already in the works, there won't be any development that will come soon enough that it will cause us any issues.
I totally agree.
So,
I think it takes
yeah.
a year to design and a year to build minimum, and
Yeah.
let's face
Well,
it,
this will be
there's
done
no-
by December.
This
Yeah,
part will be
so
done
this
This
by
part of it will
December.
be done by December, so we
yeah,
can
but
Okay,
what,
good.
live up to that
yeah, what
contract.
Josh is saying is that if there's any new development,
Okay,
it's going to take
okay.
a minimum of 2 years to
Correct.
get that in,
Correct.
and
And
we
there's-
will have it done in December. That's why this project was such an urgent matter once it was discovered that that mistake had
Okay.
occurred, because we wanted to make sure that we weren't facing any liability. And so there's another piece to the project that will provide even more additional capacity, because we do expect that there will be additional development out there at some point.
Sure.
But that would get us to the point that we can honor our contract. We want to make sure though that there is additional capacity, not just the bare minimum.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
And then Todd, I think I want to make sure that people know, if they're listening or watching this, since they're not here for public participation, in the copy of the 2024 annual report for the city of Frankfort, we did publish our rates in comparison to other communities nearby. And we're specifically speaking about wastewater rates, correct?
Yeah. Yes, just wastewater rates.
Yes. So we specifically happen to be lower than Lebanon, Crawfordsville, Peru, and Tipton currently by a significant margin. So when we talk about an increase of rates, from what I'm understanding of what you're saying, is we will still remain relatively competitive to those municipalities surrounding us with any anticipated rate increases, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So I just think it's important for people to understand how competitive we are, because I know I read those graphs for the first time in part of compiling this report, and I was blown away by how competitive our rates are compared to municipalities around us of similar or even larger sizes than us. And I think it's important for our ratepayers to know how diligently we've worked to maintain that as a part of any potential increases coming in the future.
Yeah, you kind of jumped in front of me, because
Sorry.
that's why I passed a copy of these out to everybody today too, just to show where we're at. I mean, with electric, water, I believe Tipton was the only one that was lower than us on water.
On water, yes, but not
and then
wastewater.
wastewater and electric were the lowest in the area on
Yeah.
all those places. So.
Sorry, Todd, didn't mean to steal your thunder.
Oh, no worries. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, back to the wastewater system, and Josh, this will lead in and give you some more information that earlier in the year we had went through the BOP program to fix the Jefferson situation, putting in a new force main line to the east, right there in front of Donaldson, and then we already have a manhole and that'll go to Gravity, take it to the south of 28, and then down to 200, and then back north to the lift station. And everything was through there. We advertised with a guaranteed maximum price. It was right around the $1,850,000 mark. Well, in your packet, you got you should have gotten the information. The guaranteed maximum price now was $1,430,500. So it came in $400,000 less than what we were anticipating, which is a really good number. But I think that's part of the process with the BOP program, because the engineering firm and the construction firm got together, bounced ideas off of each other, and we've had several meetings about ways to do it, and that's what they came up with. So it's a $400,000 savings right off the bat.
That's huge.
Yes. Yes.
So does action need taken on that to accept that one for?
Yeah, from what I understand, we just have to have it in the minutes of the meeting that that we accept the price of $1,430,500.
I'll move with that motion.
Motion by Mike to accept this proposal.
I'll second that.
Second by Krista. Roll call, please, Andrew.
Josh Hewitts,
Aye.
Rick Gunion,
Aye.
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye.
There's Clay. Well, might as well just jump right into that since Clay's here now.
Nothing like walking right into the hot seat.
Yeah, yeah. I'll introduce Clay here in a minute. We'll talk about the sale of the 69 kV line. I sent the information out, I believe, a month ago, and Rick and I had some discussion on it with questions. But Clay is the one that has worked with Peter Prittiman, the attorney at IMPA, worked out all the details, because there was one time, and correct me if I'm wrong, Clay, that we were thinking we was going to have to get 3 appraisals and do this and spend a bunch of money, and they went through the law and figured out that we were good to go ahead and do a sale without doing all that stuff. Is that correct, Clay?
And the reason for that is because at one point we had talked about selling the line to Duke. Duke is not a not-for-profit, but IMPA does qualify as a governmental entity, and because it's a governmental entity, it doesn't require the same standards that an outside organization that's not a not-for-profit or governmental entity requires. So that's how we're able to do it without getting the appraisals and everything.
Clay, is there anything that you want to mention on our process and stuff that we've been through? Here, come up here. It's all being recorded. You can't hear you.
Well, good evening, and I apologize for not being here right at the start. I would just observe that that's quite a challenge to get off the interstate where it's one lane over the highway. The traffic was backed up onto 65. But in any event, to the matter at hand, one of the main things to note has to do with the fact that there is a lease of certain assets, and part of these assets that are being sold. Those details have already been worked out in terms of the transfer of that lease. It's going to be terminating, but IMPA is aware of that and fully on board. And this is with Duke. So we got that sorted out, and then, as Alicia accurately noted, not only is IMPA a not-for-profit, but they are a governmental entity, and so that makes it much cleaner to do a transfer should the city so desire. And as far as the specific terms of the sale, that was really between Todd and IMPA, and ultimately now you, as to whether the dollar value is going to be acceptable. And my understanding is that there's a pretty strong rationale behind this transfer. So, was there anything else you wanted me to touch on? Okay, happy to try to answer any questions if you have any for me.
I have one question, if you could clarify for me. In terms of the sale or divestiture of the assets we're talking about, as that's currently envisioned, once that is transacted, is there anything in the physical boundary of any of this asset, if you look at it in a map, a conventional map, is there anything in that boundary that we would still maintain, own, or have a prior interest in, or does it divest wholly, and is it transferred without exception to the new ownership?
In terms of ownership, operation, and maintenance, the assets being transferred go off of the city's books and onto IMPA. There will be an ongoing relationship in terms of pole attachments. And so the city utility will still have certain facilities that are connected to these assets.
And that's expected. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And then these are the pictures that are up on your screens of the equipment that we don't want any part of. And one of them on there has a date, what was it,
1974.
1974.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that would become all theirs. And what we've been told, as soon as the transaction's done, they're getting the equipment on order and starting replacing immediately with that. there's the tag, one of them. But yeah, it's not a good thing for us to probably keep in our inventory list.
So what is our, do we need a motion to have this
Well,
transpire?
this is where we may need you to, Clay, or Alicia, both. But we would have to approve a resolution, and then we have to take this information to the city council to get their blessing, and then it needs to be signed off by, I believe, by the mayor and sheriff or
Attested
Carol.
by Carol, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
attested
what the
by Carol.
agreement said.
Yeah.
So there is a resolution that I prepared based on a resolution that was prepared for the city, which I think you prepared, Clay, or IMPA prepared, I'm not sure. But essentially what we're doing tonight is we would be recommending to the city to sell the asset and to approve the purchase agreement. And then the city council would get the actual purchase agreement, and they would also have a resolution, and their resolution would be to approve the purchase agreement and authorize the mayor to sign that. So it's kind of a two-step process. So you all would be recommending that to their board, and then they would make the ultimate decision since it's a city asset.
And then once that happens, if that all happens, then it goes to IMPA, and I believe their process involves a vote of their board to
Purchase it.
agree to purchase.
And then
So-
does
so
this
we have the
require
resolution
approval?
to approve?
Yes, I have the resolution ready. I got it to Todd over the weekend, so I'm sorry I didn't get it to you sooner. But yes, there is a resolution that essentially mirrors the city's resolution with a few exceptions. Theirs obviously says that they're going to approve the purchase agreement. You're recommending to the city that they should approve the purchase agreement, but that's what the resolution does, is it just recommends that they approve the purchase
So
agreement.
one last question before I make a motion to that effect. Does this require IURC approval?
No.
Thank you. So
Now you ready to make a motion?
with that, I would like to make a motion for the board to consider a recommendation to the city council for sale of said assets, so that we get them off our books and we can continue on utilizing the asset in the future.
Can I go ahead and give the resolution number
You may.
to 2025-07-21-01?
A second.
I'll second that.
Krista. Roll call.
Josh Hewitt,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Rick Gunyon,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye.
And one thing to note, it's been a couple months ago that we talked about a new line truck, and we have it on order. What I'd like to do when we get this money from IMPA, put it into the depreciation fund, and then we were talking before possibly a lease on that truck, and just get it, because this will pay more than what that truck is going to be coming in at. We'll just pay cash for it and be done. So, but that'll be up to you guys at a later date, but we got 2 years to worry about that.
So that presupposes that the sale of the asset, the funds are to be provided to the utility board and FMU versus
Yes.
the city. Is that correct?
Yes, it is
And
ours.
Alicia,
yeah.
does that coincide with your thinking?
Yes, it should go to the utilities because it's kind of a gray area as far as who has to sign off on it, because typically with, like if we had a truck that we wanted to sell, the utility service board could sell that truck. You bought the truck, you've maintained the truck, you wouldn't have to get the city council approval for that. If it was real estate, that is under the city's jurisdiction, because even though it's utility real estate that you all maintain, the city technically has title to it. It's unclear with an asset like this whether the city would need to approve it or not. So to be on the safe side, my recommendation was that the city does approve that transaction, just so that way we've made sure everyone is aware. But it is a utility asset that you guys have been maintaining, so you should get the funds for that.
Okay, thank you.
Can you say that part again about
Yes.
real estate?
Yeah, so real estate for the utility service board is titled in the name of the city. So all of the real estate that is technically utility real estate is owned by the city of Frankfort under the utility service board doesn't have its own tax ID number. It's under the umbrella of the city. So with real estate, it's titled in the name of the city, not in the name of the utility service board.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item, or
Oh, I didn't, did you guys do the roll
Yep.
call?
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
It's 5-0.
Sorry about that. The next thing I'd like to talk about, and I sent it out last week, I believe, or the week before, I don't know, is the extension of our purchase power agreement with IMPA. Right now, in the information, you've seen that we are paying a debt service because as they issue bonds, and we're down at the 2042, if they take it to 20 or 2052, they're amortizing more of a rate of their bonds to us, so we're paying off their bonds in a shorter period of time, and we're getting hit with the debt service. That's just, I think, one of many reasons why we should consider signing. We have been the only holdout out of their 61 customers, but with potential development and everything else, I think it would be good if we could get this contract signed and lengthened and go from there. And it sets a lot of people's minds at ease, because if this does happen, between them and the JTS system, they're going to have a very, very substantial investment for that, which in the long run as well, we're going to benefit greatly from that. But
And again, this is something that the city needs to approve because the contract is technically between the city of Frankfort and IMPA. So what you all would be doing tonight is you would be recommending to the city council to approve the the power sales agreement between IMPA and the city. And there is a resolution to that effect as well. That would go to the city council.
when is the next city council meeting?
August 11th.
got a number on it, Andrew?
Resolution number 2025-07-21-02.
Motion to approve that, or yes,
Did
Rick?
anyone make a motion?
Sure.
No,
Was-
no
was-
one,
no
no
one
one
has
has
made
made
a
a motion,
There
no.
was no motion made.
No.
Let me raise my hand and make the motion to recommend the city council that we the city sign the long-term lease agreement with, our contract agreement with IMPA. I think the additional rationale for doing so is, if we were to look elsewhere, such as a long-term contract with other electric providers like Wabash Valley Power, we don't have anything in the works. We've had no negotiations with them, and something like that takes a couple years to iron out. So rather than keep everybody on edge, let's just move forward with what we have now, is my thinking. So that's the motion I'm making, is to continue that contract for the next period of time.
Have a motion and a second.
I'll second. It only makes sense to continue this relationship as strong as it's been and as strong as it continues to be. So
Have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Josh Hewitz,
aye.
Rick Gunyon,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye.
So then, Todd, based on what this says in this presentation, it's going to provide a cost savings for us of $73,000 a year because we are extending it.
Yes.
So then total cost savings over the 2 years that we would have paid is about $150,000.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then I guess with this, on August 11th, did you want me to present this to the council, or was one of the board members going to present it to the council? We'll have to get that worked out, because right now we have Alicia has looked at the purchase or the contract of it. She had some red line versions. She sent it to Peter today.
Yeah,
correct?
Peter approved the revisions that I made, so I think we're ready to bring it to the council, if you all are ready to bring it to the council. And we'll want to get that to them sooner rather than later, but Peter did approve all of the changes that I made, and I did review all of the documents associated with this, including the resolution for you all, and then also all of the documents associated with the city council and the agreement.
My preference would be that Todd would present this.
Okay. That's fine. I just want to make sure. I didn't want to come down to the last minute and
No,
we get there. So, okay.
You have much more background ideas and can take questions.
I'll be there also.
Okay. Okay. One more thing, then it's on the list under unfinished business and for the employee handbook revisions. All of us have it. The department heads, myself, we've been going through it, kind of making some but we have been making some notes, and I've been getting them from everybody, and I included Sarah and Becky in that as well because they're the ones doing payroll, and
Yep.
people ask them more questions than they do anybody. So from the notes, I'm just trying to get those and getting them consolidated. So if we can wait on
Yes.
that, but if you guys tell me no, that's fine. But we're still working on our end, reviewing it. There's a lot there to review.
I
So.
think that's the point we're at right now is
Okay.
everybody's
Yeah.
providing feedback and,
Yeah.
input about some of the things in there.
Okay,
It's,
so we're on the same page then.
Yeah,
We're on
I
the
wanted to
same
make
page.
sure it was still kind of in open items, like in that unfinished business
Yeah.
area, just to have a check-in with everyone as far as where everybody stood on everything.
Okay,
So-
well, that's where we're at on our end. And
Okay.
like I said, there's a lot there in trying to get different things put together. So, all right. I
There
think
is a
that's
lot
about
there.
it for me.
Okay.
Unless you guys have anything. Okay, thank you.
all right. We're down to approval of claims, payrolls, and transfers. There were any additions this week?
Make a
Any
motion-
questions?
I make a motion that we approve the claims, payroll, and transfers.
Motion by Mike. Second?
I'll second that.
Krista, second. Roll call.
Josh Hewitts,
Aye.
Rick Gunion,
Aye.
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye. All right, and unfinished business from prior meetings. We discussed whether we wanted to fill the vacancy of the chairman's position at this time. Is there any further discussion or comments about that?
I can only speak for myself. I've not been involved long enough to be confident enough to make a vote on that. I think there's a lot of big things coming down the line that are very, very important and are going to require a very, very specific skill set to navigate, and that's just kind of where I'm at on it. I'm not sure who that is. But you guys do whatever you want. I'm just the new guy.
My position hasn't changed. I believe I recall Mike Kelly being the chairman of the board, the utility board, from about 2012 to about 2019 or 20 or so, 8 years approximately, and did a fine job as the chairman of the utility board. We had in a prior meeting, Mike has been acting since Kent's passing as the acting chairman of the board. And Mike, you identified Mike Reeder as being the most senior person on the board. That would be the acting vice chair should the need arise. My position is for the remainder of this year, that's good enough. My preference is not to disturb the lay of the land, so to speak, and upset committee appointments and whatnot. My preference is to continue as we are until the end of this year, when we would take a normal vote. And that would give the newer members of the board more seat time to get the lay of the land and make an informed judgment. So that's my position personally.
I believe we should at least make a motion because I believe we had resolved that or approved that as a temporary situation until further discussion. So for me, I would like to make a motion that we would leave Mike Kelly as chairman, Mike Reeder as vice chairman through the end of this calendar year, at which time then in January we would elect our new chair and vice chair for the coming calendar year.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. Roll call.
was Krista. Rick Gunion,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Josh Ewitz,
Aye.
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye. Okay,
Congratulations, Mike.
Congratulations, guys.
yeah.
Don't act so excited.
Okay, let's see. The employee handbook revision. I know Krista wants to share some more about that.
Well, essentially, I just wanted to make sure it stayed on the agenda just for a checking point to make sure that if anyone had any questions that had arisen that we needed to speak about, obviously we'd have the opportunity for that. But mainly, I just want to make sure we stay on track with that and don't lose track of the importance of getting that project wrapped up and off of Mike Kelly's and my plate, because we've been staring at it for months, and as riveting of the reading as it is, we want to make sure everybody has clarity as far as what that reads. So I didn't know if we needed to kind of set a timeline for that of when we wanted to have the updated with everyone's revisions ready to review, or where we needed to stand with that.
Should we, if we see something, should we refer that to you so that,
Yes. So the best way, as you're tracking changes, so I know Todd said he's receiving changes and that sort of thing, if you can refer to them by page number and also like heading title or something like that for me, and then refer to the specific area in question, that would be excellent. Because then what I can do is in the electronic document, I can record those as comments. I can put my Alicia hat on and I can redline and highlight them and make them all fancy. And then we can go ahead and review those one by one in a discussion format if and when that needs to take place.
Yeah, it might be that you do a couple here, a couple there. And
Yep.
everything to get this done.
Yep.
Otherwise, it could be a long time.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
yeah, I know I don't know that everyone's ready with the share thing, but
Yeah.
that's coming on soon, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think,
Not today.
Yes.
I tried a little bit of it but I didn't trust it enough to put it out as a share like
Sure.
that, so.
Sure. And that's also why I tried to do my best to make sure early things were highlighted from the get-go so that you knew special areas to highlight. But obviously, I know there's a lot to go through. So
My comment is thanks for the outstanding work on this. There's a lot of changes and a lot to read. So I appreciate what you and Mike have done on this.
Yeah, yes.
I don't have a
She's done a
comment.
wonderful job of putting this all together. Because I saw what she had in my notes, which she probably couldn't read very well. And
I can show them if anyone wants visual evidence.
we just appreciate everything, Alicia, or that
I just
Krista
have
did.
a quick comment, Mike, just in terms of the process. I've been involved in revision of documents like this many times. I just think we need to manage our expectations, because as good as this draft might be, the fact of the matter is we're going to have the 4 or 5 board members, 4 or 5 staff members of FMU feeding comments and edits back to the author of this revision. So we need to realize there's going to be a couple of iterations or revision versions that we first see how these all come together in the next revision, and we can take a look at that. We'll probably have to do that 3 times. I don't know the number, but just to realize that. So I'm not sure we can put an end date as to when we want to have it done. I think it's important. I think Krista would agree, and yourself. We'd want to keep this moving as maybe the main intent, so it doesn't get stagnant.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think the main goal is to make sure as these revisions come in, right, I get them and then I organize them, and then we can resolve to say, okay, are these the only revisions? Then we don't need to read the whole book over again. It's more like, how can I pull the revisions out to specifically examine that verbiage under these headings and that sort of thing, to make sure that it's an easier and more concise decision-making process. So each iteration, I would hope, would get smaller. Is that fair to say? Instead of reading the whole book every single time and making revisions every single time, right? It's more like, okay, these are the 60 revisions we need in iteration 2. here's how they fit in, and then the next would be, okay, now we're going to revise these 20 things, right? Would be my goal of how to proceed through this process.
Yeah, one of the things that I wondered about was on this the social media thing.
Yes.
There's one in the handbook, but I
Yes.
don't know how it compares to the one that the city's adopted. Whether, I mean, and that was from the one that we have in that book is from the city's handbook, and I don't know if it's what you.
I would have to look at what the city has, because I know that they updated their handbook, and I believe it was after, Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was after we did that social media policy, wasn't it? So it should be the one in the city handbook one should be the one that was adopted, but I'd have to look.
That's
I
one of the
haven't
things we
looked at it
wanted to
yet.
check on.
Yeah.
And let me ask a question about process. Are you folks using or planning on using like Microsoft Word revision tracking, where you can resolve comments made? And,
Yes.
and we have a record of the date, who made the comment, who resolved it, how it got resolved? Okay.
Yes, that was exactly. So I built it in Google Docs and then exported it as a Word document so that everyone could have it. But I'm familiar with both change tracking mechanisms, and that would be my goal so that we would have a running tally list of exactly what changes were made at what time.
Great.
It
Good.
actually looks like, Alicia, so you've got your internal and then you've got your external social media policy. And they don't read exactly the same. They're organized slightly differently, so I'd have to do an analysis of how they compare
To
back
see
and
if they were
forth.
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it yet, so I don't know if that was. The internal policy is the one that should be in the handbook, though. The external policy is the policy for the public.
Yep.
So that's the one that should match in the handbook.
Okay. I'm just gonna pin that in where it needs to go. So if anybody wants to make note, the social media policy is on page 17 of the new handbook. And then I have a copy of the city's internal policy that Alicia provided. So that will be an initial change right off the bat.
I should have a question.
Is the social media policy going to be, is it just strictly for while you're working, or is it going to be more robust, like what we had to, like other departments have had to make changes?
So the social media policy that I sent out was more for the department
Gotcha.
heads pertaining to creation of social
Got ya.
media pages. There are some departments within the city that have specific social media policies. Those I don't believe are in the employee handbook. They're more in the department
Gotcha.
SOPs.
That's correct. That's
So,
correct. Okay.
So the policy that I sent out was just more for the department heads for when they create an account, that sort of thing.
Makes sense.
We could do a more robust social media policy like some of the departments in the city have in their SOPs if you wanted, but that's not what we had originally.
Gotcha. Well, that's fine. I was just curious. Sorry.
No problem. Any other discussion? Okay. Under new business, preliminary discussion only, and this is, let's talk about, I know that there's been a request that stormwater funding allocation for Prairie Creek watershed maintenance. I know that Josh has experience with that through his county experiences, and I think, Rick, that was one of the things that you had discussed about maybe talking about. Is that correct?
Yes. So I had sent an email to the board and to you, Mike, on July the 8th, asking that this topic be put on the August or September agenda. And my rationale for August or September for this topic is the following. I believe we discussed in August, if I remember correctly, and check me, Andrew, the first meeting of August, we were going to do a financial mid-year review.
Correct.
Okay. So I see that as being the precedent or the activity we do first to see where our finances are for the mid-year point. And then discuss in the next meeting, perhaps, potential funding for Prairie Creek watershed maintenance. And the reason this is important is all the property owners within the Prairie Creek watershed, which is essentially most of the city of Frankfort, pay a drainage fee for maintenance of that public drain, that creek. And in years past, our county surveyor, Dan Sheets, has struggled to get enough funds to do proper maintenance, required maintenance. Last year, if I'm correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, the annual fee for property owners in the Prairie Creek watershed was increased substantially. I know I went and I spoke against the large increase that was really proposed, which I think was
Right.
150% or something.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So we got that lowered by agreement. But it turns out that an essential part of the utilities stormwater system for managing stormwater runoff during a heavy rain event or rain event, when there's effluent that moves from one point to another, an essential part of that is Prairie Creek. Without that, we would be underwater, so to speak, if you can accept that for a joke. So it only stands to reason that we would contribute to the annual watershed maintenance fund in some fashion as the utilities. And that was the purpose of that discussion. I included the city ordinance that refers to stormwater management practices in the city of Frankfort. So that's my intent, is maybe revisit this after we've talked about our mid-year financial position and then the pleasure of the board.
In the future, could Dan come in and maybe share some of the things that need to be done that they have to do?
Yes.
That works for me. I mean, I've got some pretty specific ideas on how we should handle the whole situation. But I can save those for when we have the conversation at a later date.
Okay.
So,
But I think we need educated on the whole process of
yeah.
what it takes to get that water out of here.
And I think Dan, I spoke to Dan 3 weeks ago on this topic and another topic, and he indicated he'd be more than happy to come before the board and give an update on what the maintenance activities are planned and how the funding works and so forth. So we can arrange that, Mike. Either yourself or myself or Josh can contact Dan when it's more better known as to the timing.
Okay. Yeah.
So we will do a little bit more discussion after we hear the budget thing next meeting, but probably won't have him come until the meeting after that.
Yeah, good.
Good. So we know financially where we are.
Good.
And that'd be great, because I could relay my idea on how to actually handle that situation. So
Good.
Thank you.
Todd.
On this, Rick, you had copied me on this email as well, and I didn't know for sure, since it's really a county drain, and so I did some checking with Wessler, and it is within the stormwater funds to be able to do things. But one of the things that they had suggested is either we donate labor or materials, but don't do a cash.
that's what I was going to suggest.
Don't do a cash thing to them, because and then you can start to, no pun, but really muddy the water when it's in there. But there is things that we can do from a material standpoint and a labor standpoint, but it's still using stormwater funds to do those things.
Right.
So I had checked in on that. I didn't know how deep we were going to get into the weeds on it tonight, but we'll have to take that in consideration.
No,
as well.
that's good. And my approach to things like this is to first talk about the what, and then after we talk about the what, talk about the how. So you're getting into the how. I fully agree.
Okay.
I think they would be very amenable to that, because they don't have any equipment as a drainage board to do any of that thing. And we just had a list of contractors, and we'd take bids, and so
And our guys are good. And,
Right.
you know, I hadn't ran it by PJ yet, obviously. He's looking at me. It's all news to me, yeah. But our guys are good. And if there's something needs to be done, I'd put all the faith into them in the world on getting stuff and doing it right
Well,
right now.
and I
Fortunately,
know-
right now, we're not doing it because they're busy. But with time, we can get it.
I know, PJ is always the first or second or third to stand up and volunteer to get things done, so I appreciate that. I think the only, what we'd want to do is put in place some type of rudimentary accounting. So as we're doing, let's call it working kind,
Yeah.
that Dan or the county surveyor and ourselves, we have kind of a running tab of this is what we're doing, translating to this much in-kind work.
Right. And we would have a job order and everything to order material and stuff on anyway, and we could just give it a special code for Prairie Creek, you know, and have the number and stuff for that, and we can track it that way, and we'll turn them in and say, hey, this is what we've done on Prairie Creek this year. So
Very good.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay. Next item that I have on the new business preliminary discussion is my thought is we probably need to appreciate our employees again.
Yes.
We had a very nice dinner for them in the last year. I don't think, I hope they think we appreciate them, but I think they'd like to see that done in a manner that's more formal. And that this is a discussion item only, that getting your feedback and on about that.
I think it sounds like a great idea. I don't know how you guys have handled it in the past, but we did similar.
Bill, Josh.
What's that?
You're just doing that, send you guys a bill.
Well, I mean, I know some departments that do that. I mean, I was on the county, but you know, we did that kind of thing, and I think typically what we did is we would get vendors to pay for it, but I don't know if Clay wants to make a donation while he's here.
Alicia?
Well, I know, like, I took lunch to the billing office just to introduce myself, make sure I met all of them. I know how appreciative they were of that. I do still think, and this is something I had talked about way at the beginning, like we're talking my first or second meeting. I love the idea of some service awards in honor of some longtime utility service board members that served this organization diligently. I know at that point in time I had talked about the Joe Root Service Award. I think there's also an opportunity to do something in Kent's honor as well, just as annual awards that can be given with some sort of gift as well to recognize exemplary service. So I think this topic could probably morph into a few different directions, in my opinion, of how we reward and how we show appreciation for the immense work that our diligent employees do. I love to throw parties, so if you want to throw, I will plan a party.
And
Any
just
other comments?
for the benefit of Josh and Krista, so in the past, in two prior years, I had made the motion to do a luncheon, a celebration luncheon. So as opposed to a dinner, but maybe there's not much distinction there. This year, due to our unfortunate extraordinary event with Kent's passing, and not knowing where our financials stood, I held off doing that motion until we knew where our mid-year financials were. But I'm more than comfortable if the board would like to move forward and plan an event, whatever that looks like. I've had my input for 2 years in a row. I'm happy to go along with the majority. So if someone else can do the arrangements and come up with something new and exciting, I'm all for it. So.
I like what we've done in the past at Prairie Creek. I think the mayor and some other offices up there, did you enjoy that? I think that would be a great idea again.
Would it be okay with the board if I work with Krista and we get some kind of a plan together, have it for you for the next meeting of maybe a way of celebrating and doing that?
Sure.
I support have at it.
Huh?
I support have at
Yeah.
it.
Sounds good to me.
Because she likes to throw parties.
I do love to throw parties.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the board tonight? If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.